learning Zili Nishmas Etta Bas Yaakov Masechus Gitin Perik Dala Mishna Ches. Hamaitzi Atzishim Mishum Islandess. If someone divorces his wife because she's an islandess and can't have children, Rabbi Yehuda Lo Yachzer. Rabbi Yehuda says he cannot remarry her afterwards. And the reason is because, the Gemara explains, because of Kilkula, that we said in the last Mishnah that she's going to go ahead and get married to someone else and have children, and then he's going to say, if I would have known you could have had children, I would never have divorced you, and therefore the get's batal the mafreya, and therefore it's going to come out a kilkul. The Gemara asks that Rabbi Yehuda in the last Mishnah did not hold of kilkula. So there are two terutzim in the Gemara. Either in the last Mishnah was only talking about neder and shtickle cheshbon, but in the last Mishnah we said according to Rameir there was no kilkul in a case of Einei Tzarech Hakiras Chachamim, and according to Eliezer, there was no kilkul in the case of Tzarech Hakiras Chachamim, so he held like both those shita, and therefore, by neder, there's no kilkul, and only in this Mishnah by islandess does he hold of kilkul. The other teretz in the Gemara is that you have to switch around the Tanaim in this Mishnah. Chachamim say, Yachzer, that he could be machzer her. So there are two pshatim in the Gemara, either because he argues and he's not chayish l'kukula, cham not chayish l'kukula, or the maskanas Gemara, even if normally are chayish l'kukula, but the chachamim hold like Rameir that you need a tanai kafel, and over here we're talking about that he wasn't kafel as tanai, so now he won't be able to say that. So now even if it turns out that she's not an islandess, the get is going to be chal because he didn't make any tanai. The Sefer, the Mishnah says, Nisis le'echad, if she actually got married, la'achar, if she got married to someone else, she winds up having children. So now she says, oh, you should never have divorced me because of an islandess. I see I had children. And therefore, yitevas ksuvasa, she wants her ksuva. Rabbi Yehuda, Omerla, he could tell her, Shesikusecha yafelach midiburecha. You're better off being quiet, because if you start saying that you want your ksuva, I'm going to say that I would never have divorced you. The svara to get your ksuva is that you were never an islandess. So if you were never an islandess, then the get you never have been chal. So therefore you're better off being quiet. And he's able to tell her that and not pay her the ksuva. Mishna tes hamoicher satzmei bezban of legoy ein paydin oisef. If someone sells himself and his children to a guy in order to make money, the halacha is we don't have to be paid him back. And the Gemara says we're talking about that someone did this 2 or 3 times. Aval, the Mishnah says, and after the father dies, then we will go ahead and be paid to his children back from the guy. Yisrael, or the Gemara is Geiris over here. If someone sells his field to a guy, that he has to go ahead now and maybe mimenu bikurim and they tikkun oilam. Every year he has to go ahead and buy back from the guy the fruits, even if it's very expensive, and bring them to Yerushalayim, because we don't want him to be used to selling his karka in Eretz Yisrael to a guy. And also, if he sold it, we're matriach him that he has to go after these peiros and go be paid to him back. The Gemara asks that according to Manda Omar, in Kinyan Le'evi Kecham Beretz Yisrael Lafkia Midei Meiser, so then it's Kaddish, and he should have a Chiyav Da'araisa. It shouldn't only be when they take an oilam. Midaraisa, Bikurim is a mitzvah de Ram Yaleh that he has to do, and he should have to buy it back from a guy. Rashi explains it's not similar to Meiser. By Meiser, even though in Kinyan Le'evi Kecham Beretz Yisrael Lafkia Midei Meiser, that means if a guy owns property in Eretz Yisrael, there's still a chiyav meiser, but over there you don't have to go back and buy it from the guy, because meiser just means it's just a chiyav to give meiser, and if you don't give meiser, then the fruits are tavel. But it's not a mitzvah on you that you have to do. But bikurim is a mitzvah that you have to do. So if you hold in kinyan le'evik and there's a chiyav midaraisa on this field, then there should be a chiyav midaraisa to be bought back. And the Gemara explains that enachanami, originally the taka was a chiyav midaraisa. Then the chacham came along and said that they didn't want people selling it to goyim and still being chayiv and bikurim, so they said don't give bikurim. And people were still selling it to guys. If they didn't have money, they had no choice. They sold it to guy, and they didn't want to bring in bikurim. So then they went back and they were misakin now that again you have to go ahead and give bikurim like it was originally.